Hey guys, what's up? Darcy here at 6 Strings 9 Lives. Welcome to episode 12 of 6 with 6 Strings. If you're newer to the channel, welcome. My big metal door is always open. Please drop by anytime. Always fun to hang out with, talk some metal with everybody. Basically I take 6 albums out of my collection. Not necessarily my favorite from these bands. A lot of it's just pure randomness or something that inspired me. Maybe I watched a video and somebody showed an album. I'm like, yeah, I better listen to that, or I need to get that. And sometimes I'll show an album that I don't have everything from a band, and I'm digging for information myself. So I really appreciate the feedback and helping me make a decision on maybe a band that I should get more from. Today is a perfect example. I got a couple of surprises here today. Not shocking surprises, but just maybe bands that I do love and or listen to on a regular basis, but just haven't talked about enough. So first up today, I guess you would consider this the first full-length album from this band. It is Celtic Frost, and this one is called To Megatherion. This is a great album, but my Celtic Frost collection is very limited. The only other one I have is Morbid Tales, which is I think a 2017 reissue, which has the EP on it also, The Emperor's Return, I believe. That's all I have. So I do this album. Of course, the song Circle of Tyrants brings back so many memories. Watching that video on Canada's Much Music and really loving it. And for whatever reason, after that album, I don't know, I must have, been getting into other things or whatever, but I really think I need to dig into some more Celtic Frost, into the Pandemonium. People talk a lot about kind of a love-hate relationship they have with Cold Lake. Or another album that I think I really should dig into is called Vanity Nemesis. I have not heard any of those three that I just mentioned, so let me know in the comments where to go next, but great album right here. So we'll put that one aside. Next up, let's shift gears to really a band that kind of just got me rolling as a kid. My auntie bought me an album for Christmas at a very young age, probably I would say maybe in the 1977, 78. I'm not definite on the year. I do forget that. But anyways, she bought me Kiss Destroyer. But today I'm going to show the other album from 1976. How's that? 2 fantastic albums come out in 1 year. Yeah, I know they're only 32, 33 minutes long, but it doesn't make it any less exciting. But I do like, definitely like Kiss, and this is actually, I would put this in the, if I was ever to do a Kiss ranking, this one would probably be fairly high because it's a great album. You got, on this album, there's 10 tracks. There's, and I always would take my Kiss albums and okay, how many did Gene sing? How many did Paul sing? Did Ace get one? Did Peter get one? In the case of this album, Gene sang 4 songs, Paul sings 4, and Peter sings 2. But great tracks on here. I Want You, Calling Dr. Love, awesome. Love track 5, that's a Peter sings that one, Baby Driver. Love 'Em, Leave 'Em, Hard Luck Woman, Mr. Speed. Yeah, definitely big fan of Kiss. And again, I haven't shown a lot of Kiss, on my channel, and well, there's a lot to show, and I should get on it. But anyways, if you're not familiar with this album, but if you are familiar with Kiss, you definitely already know this album. One of the coolest rock and roll covers, or album covers that I've ever seen. I always rank that one pretty high. Anyways, great album. That one was produced by Eddie Kramer, and and I talked about in earlier videos back in the day when bands were putting out 2 albums a year, and like I said, they're shorter, but it's pretty cool. I mean, if they did that like in this day and age, if somebody came out with a, you know, 2 35-minute albums in a year, I would be like super pumped. You know, and that's back in the day when you got to know those albums so well, because, you know, the length and just the amount of times that you would spin an album. Anyways, we'll go on to another. Here's a band that's coming out with a brand new album. September, I believe around September 8th or whatever. A band from the UK, love these guys. And this is their 6th overall studio album. This is Raven, Life's a Bitch. So this would be their final album on Atlantic Records. They were dropped after this. You probably know their first album on Atlantic was called Stay Hard. Decent album. Then they really kind of shit the bed on The Pack is Back, which was produced by Eddie Kramer, who produced Rock and Roll Over. So Eddie, I don't know what you were thinking on that album, but anyways, right after that came out, Raven came out with an EP called Mad, fantastic, and then they came out with this. To me, this was a return to form. If you listen to this really good, I almost get like a Judas Priest, Hell Bent for Leather feel in places. You know, I'm not saying the Judas Priest and Raven are not comparing the bands, but just on certain songs, certain sounds. But I don't know if I show you the back, but I got a nice original pressing here in great shape. Check out these tracks. The Savage and the Hungry, Pick a Window, fantastic song. Life's a Bitch, Iron League, love that song. Fuel to the Fire. This is solid top to bottom. So yeah, new album coming out in September is called Metal City. So this will be their first album with their brand new drummer. Forget his name at the moment, but throw it in the comments if you know who he is for me. But yeah, definitely check out some Raven. Also, I wanted to mention too, probably about a year ago, there is a CD that is available that has Stay Hard, The Pack is Back, the Mad EP, and Life's a Bitch, all in one packaging of 2 CDs. So it's all in one, because the CDs are next to impossible to get. And I mean, for an original pressing of this, you're probably looking at $60-70, which is ridiculous. So anyways, check that out if you want. It's all in one packaging. Next up, a band and a guy that I have followed for years, absolutely love them. And I am talking, and this would be the in each episode of this, I do bring somebody back from you know, not always the previous episode, but this this artist is, I showed a Dirk Schneider live album in one of these previous episodes. Today I'm going to show you U.D.O. This album is called Solid. This came out in 1997. So prior to that, U.D.O. went away from his U.D.O. band from 91 to 97, and he reunited with Wolf, Peter, and Stefan in Accept, and they made 3 really, well, I shouldn't say 3 really good albums, but 2 that I really like. One's okay. Excuse me. Objection Overruled, Death Row, and then Predator. So after, you know, the reunion was done or whatever, and they went their separate ways again, U.D.O. fired up the band U.D.O. again. And on this album, joining him is Stefan Kaufmann on guitar, and he's the original drummer of Accept. So, and Stefan does a ton of producing on a lot of these albums. As the title states, this is solid, very solid album. Probably one of my favorite U.D.O. albums. There's the back cover. Great tracks: Independence Day, The Punisher, Devil's Dice, Hate Stinger, awesome song, Brain Dead Hero. There's just not a weak track on here. This is also the first album of longtime bassist Fiddy Weinhold, who only left after the recording of their latest album, Steel Factory. So he was with them for 12 albums and a lot of years. But if you're not familiar with this U.D.O album, I highly recommend this one. It's great. Next up, 2 more to go in this episode. Here's a band that I don't even know, I can't remember if I've even talked about. I think I have talked to people about them in the comment section. You would call this melodic death metal. This is Archenemy, Return of the Tyrant. Yes, I definitely like some Archenemy. I think, I don't know much about their first, 3 albums. They had I forget his name. I think his name was John something. He was on their first 3 albums, and Angela joined the band. Angela Gossow, she's on this album. Great album from Archenemy. This band was formed by Michael Amott from Carcass, Spiritual Beggars, and also his brother Chris was also in the band for a number of years. Their current lineup has changed. They have actually a Canadian singer now. Her name is Alyssa White. What was it? Glutz. Anyways, one of the other. Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But Alyssa's from Canada. She is now in the band on the past 2 albums. And the past 1 album, Jeff Loomis is on guitar, and you know him from Nevermore. But anyways, this is a great album. Solid, like I said, melodic death metal. The vocals are they're harsher. I really enjoy the vocals for sure. Try the tracks Blood on Your Hands, I Will Live Again. I love that song. In This Shallow Grave. Probably my favorite song on this album is called Revolution Begins. Also in this band is Charlie D'Angelo. He also played bass with King Diamond for a while, Merciful Fate. But he is not in the current Merciful Fate. Actually, the bass player for the current Merciful Fate, when they do a tour, which, because of COVID, lots of things got, shelved and stuff. But the current bass player for Merciful Fate, when they do go on tour, will be Joey Vera from most famously Armored Saint and Fate's Warning. Joey Vera, great bass player too. But actually, yeah, I went off a bit on a rabbit trail there. But Merciful Fate, if it doesn't have Sherman and Denner, it just really doesn't interest me that much. As much as I love King Diamond, but you got to have King Diamond, Sherman, and Denner together. And if that's not the case, then like I said. Anyways, let me know in the comments what you think about all that. And let me know what you think about Archenemy. Are they a band that you listen to? Are you, do you like Angela's vocals better? Or do you like Alyssa on the last 2 albums? I think their last 2 albums were really good. And they should be due for a new one here. I think the last one came out in 2017, so should be coming up soon. To wrap up this episode today, we are going to look at an album from a band that's been around for a long time, but there was a big gap in their career. And I'm talking about Death Angel, and this one is called Relentless Retribution. This lineup has been together since 2004 now. So they have 4 albums under their belt. Now I am a fan of the last 4 Death Angel albums, big time. I think they're some of the best modern thrash albums. I'm not going to say ever and something like that, but I definitely am a fan of the newest 4 Death Angel albums since this lineup has been together in 2004. So, you have Marcos Nguedas on vocals and Rob Cavastani. They're the 2 remaining original members, and Ted Aguilar has been with the band for a long time, since they reformed in, and sorry, I said 2004. This lineup has only been together since 2010. So they've been together for 10 years, and they've put out 4 great albums. But Death Angel got back together in 2004, and that's when Ted joined the band. And then we got Will on drums. Glad you're okay, Will. Will came home with, and was hospitalized because of COVID from the Bay Area Strikes Back tour. He came home, but he's okay. Glad he is. And Damien on bass. Anyways, great album. Some of my favorite tracks on this are, where are we here? Absence of Light. Love the song This Hate. And probably my favorite track on this album is called Opponents at Sides. Definitely check that out, or any of this would be the first of the Wolfpack trilogy, I guess you would say. And that is it. That is 6 with 6 strings. Let me know what you think. Give me some recommendations of especially Celtic Frost. Are you a fan? I definitely am not done with their discography. Name a couple of your favorite Kiss albums, or if you're a fan. And yeah, just let me know. I always love chatting with everybody in the comments section. So until next time, stay heavy.